Oftentimes, infographic assignments are designed to showcase a student's critical thinking, not necessarily their graphic design skills. As such, many instructors are looking to make sure that you have sort of a narrative arc to the information that you are presenting. The biggest thing about having a narrative to your infographic is that you have to give it a sense of purpose, of story, of an arc, a point, or an argument going across the entirety of it, that you're building to something. It's important that it's not just a bunch of random facts about some topic, but that you're using the collected information to introduce the topic to us, to show us some specific detail about that topic, and then bring us to some sort of conclusion state, whether that's a call to action or whether that's us thinking, feeling, or believing something. Let's take a look at this infographic that has that sort of narrative arc or structure across it from the American Red Cross. To start, it shows its topic, candle fires, and gives us some very introductory information, just telling us sort of how prevalent they are. We proceed down the infographic to have a group here of various statistics that give us more specific information. We get the same sort of movement continuing down, more information about the breadth and severity of candle fires. And finally, towards the conclusion, we get this statement: that candle fires are avoidable, and it gives us things we can actually do. So if you had no idea that this was an issue at the outset, this infographic introduces the problem, gives you very specific information about that problem, and then tells you something you can do with it. That informational structure of introducing it, giving in the body some more specific information, and then the conclusion, giving something like a call to action or convincing the audience of an argument, is very, very effective and really showcases your critical thinking about an issue in a unique and interesting way. That structure doesn't only come in your information, however, it also comes through your design. One of the reasons many narrative infographics have sort of a long image format is because it leverages a reading order of top to bottom and requires the reader to sort of progress down through that argument. You can also use a left to right reading order, but you'll probably want to use something conventional and not confuse your readers by zigzagging across the page. You should also define various sections with your design language. Frequently, this is used by color blocks, but you can also just stylize the information or data visualization similarly. This infographic, for example, from Habitat for Humanity about affordable housing, uses alternating color blocks in order to make sure that these sections are clear. It starts with a white color block with the title, "Every Family Deserves Affordable Housing," with affordable housing really highlighted, so we instantly know what it's about. As we progress down the page through introductory information, we alternate between gray backgrounded color blocks and white backgrounded color blocks in order to give sort of the paragraphs to this overall infographic. As we head towards the bottom, you can see that we end with a call to action, what you can do. You'll also notice other design elements, such as what you can do mimics the title at the top of the page, bringing this full circle. When creating any infographic, you need to make sure you know what the point of it is. Why are you collecting this information? It's best to know what your sort of story is, what your argument is. Likely that will take this sort of narrative arc across your infographic, usually with some information being introductory, sort of body information, and then something that is conclusion-like, sometimes a call to action, or sometimes really hammering home a main point. You need to make sure, however, that that narrative arc is supported by your content and its structure. Make sure that the introductory information really is welcoming somebody in to know about this problem, issue, etc. Make sure that your body information really develops it in specific directions that support your main point. And make sure that your conclusion is satisfying. Similarly, you need to make sure that structure is not only communicated by your information, but also by the design as well. When you leverage both design and information in order to create a narrative infographic, you're not just going to be creating something that satisfies a requirement. You're going to be creating something that actually might convince somebody to do something. And that is where the real power lies in infographics. making not only information and topics accessible and easy to read and interpret for people, but to convince them of something that they should do or pay attention to.